Brothers of Legend has been a ride, but what have been the best pushing cards for this set? Make sure you guys smash that subscribe button so you guys don't miss out on more awesome content. So what's been moving from Brothers of Legend at this point in time? Well, we know that Brothers of Legend had these two fantastic Starlights in it, but were these Starlights typically the going to pressure selling cards? I mean, little Timmy out here can't afford a Dragoon, let alone a Starlight Dragoon. And, you know, the big corporate, big bad competitive players are only going to buy one of these, if anything at all. Wait, they're not even playing it, so that they could care less about that. And then, of course, Leviathan here, nobody really cares about that. Number 10 this week here is actually Nibiru. No surprise here. The fact that this card got another reprint that pushed the ceiling down in this card was absolutely fantastic. Do not underestimate the staple playability in this game. Alright, if we've learned one thing about modern era Yu-Gi-Oh! Is you want to have 3 of every hand trap. 3 Crow, 3 Lancia, 3 Effect Veil, 3 Ash, 3 Ghost Ogre, things like that. You want to make sure that you are all in hand. And the fact now that these are at a $12 price tag, instead of like what the $24.25 that they were pre-reprint. All right, that was ridiculous, by the way. Looking at those price points, yeah, this is way more enticing. All right, spending $36 instead of $75 is always going to be way more inviting. And considering that this card is basically a PowerPoint at this juncture is kind of interesting. I also see here from now we'll be looking at the basic selling cards and we'll go by unique purchases. So if the one person decides to well in 500 copies of Kuribe, you can rest easy knowing it won't distort the data. Oh, but what if somebody wants to buy 500 copies of Kuribe? Alright, next up here is Allure of Darkness. Now, this is actually kind of interesting. We've always kind of talked about Allure being one of those cards that no matter what ends up happening, it'll always be a $2 card. Alright, you know, it doesn't even see play in competitive era, but it's a generic draw card. And we always see with generic draw cards, the same thing tends to always happen. They always maintain that price point. This is a budget player's wet dream. Budget players can have a lot of fun with this, enjoy the presence with this, and just go to town with this. So the fact that we can actually see this card following the same trend that we've been seeing for so long here does not surprise me. Number 8 is a tie. Wow. Stealth Kraken and Malicious Bane. These two cards tied for number 8 spot with the exact same number of unique sales. Kraken Spawn anchors a tending strategy, we'll talk about a little bit later, but for now consider Malicious Bane reprint that was $175 in October, and it was an ultra. Now you can get Secret Rare for under $20. Now the thing is, most of the hero players had already started cutting Malicious Bane at that point in time, just because like there's better options at this point in time. And I know a lot of hero players comment on my videos, go, no, we didn't cut it. Most of the topping list acts the whole engine. I understand that you probably in your locals might be finding success with it, but for what I'm seeing on like the higher competitive spectrum, most people ended up cutting it. But I'm glad to see that budget alternatives now exist for this, because let's be honest, hero players just want to be able to mess around with all the cool ideas that they have without being paywalled into oblivion. Speaking of paywalled here, alright, demand for Adjusted Gold was huge too, narrowly edging out Malicious Bane. Again, Adjusted Gold was almost $200 back in September, and now the secret rares are less than $20. Alright, started to see pure hero decks topping regionals, but it's an interesting card to start seeing in real competition. Once again, hero players were already cutting these. There wasn't much of a point to this engine. As soon as, you know, you saw Destroyer, Phoenix Enforcer come out, it was just pretty worthless at that point in time. So, things to consider, ladies and gentlemen. While it is still a really fun idea, it just fell short. Godarla, oh boy, does this surprise anybody here? Considering the fact that Stormwinds is existent in the format right now, you need a way to play the game. Godarla is the way to do it. We're at $2.20 right now. This card did not have a reprint pre this set. Well, I mean, Mega Pack had 2 printings. But the thing was, it wasn't affordable at all. When you're staring like a $7, $8 kaiju for no frickin' reason whatsoever, it was absurd. Now the fact that we've made this card affordable to the player base yet again, I'm actually excited about this. All right, I do know for a fact that this card will eventually push up through the boundaries and will become an expensive card. Mark my words on that. So if you're looking at Godalas right now in ultra rares and you're like, $6 a little bit too much, you better get them now, because if this card touches that $8-9 mark and you're seeing $24 for a playset, you're going to be even more mad. Number 5 was Stealth Kraken. Now let's be honest here. The whole water strategy that just came out now with Bountiful Prince or Beautiful Princess, the Right Hand Shark, the whole interesting debacle here where you can play this with like Right Hand Shark and Crooked Cook Turbo is very interesting. And now this card basically gives you access to water control and a monster that can split down and do some other cool things. Alright, there's so many other cool ideas that you can mess around with here that is absolutely interesting to me in the grand scheme of things. All right, water control is one of the coolest decks out there, and you can thank Goes in Match for being one heck of a floodgate. All right, this plus Goes in Match is just free real estate for this deck. All right, so keep that in mind, that no matter what ends up happening with this, Floodgates, Zombie World Rivalry lock, but this one is Goes in Stealth Kraken lock. All right, you're on a $1.37 price tag, by the way. Shout out, I also got mentioned down here. That makes me feel good. Number 4 down here is Downerd Magician. Downards are $1, ladies and gentlemen. You did it. You've reached the point where that $30 card came crashing down. All right? No surprise here. Everybody and their mother looked at this card and was like, no, I don't want to spend this ridiculous price tag. So you play, Downer with Gachi Gachi Gentetsu, overlay on top of it. You acquire the exact same result that you were kind of looking for at the end of the day, which was this card gives you 1 extra Exceed material for Zeus. That is the only purpose in playing Downerd Magician, is just for, you're paying for that 1 extra material. Now that 1 extra material costs you exactly $1 and some tax and or shipping to get that extra floatability on your card. I mean, rogue decks love this card. You just gotta dedicate the 1 extra deck space to getting that Zeus just a little bit fatter at the end of the day. Next up was Relinquished Anima. Can't say I'm surprised about this. All right, considering the fact I do agree, like, this isn't seeing a lot of crazy play this week. All right, actually, Relinquished Anima hasn't seen any crazy play in a little while, but that's besides the point here. The fact that this card got an upgrade at this point in time, no real surprise to you, ladies and gentlemen. But this is one of those cards that no matter what happens right now, you're going to want to keep an eye on this, just because we came crashing down from a $14 price tag down to $2 at this point in time, just for any level 1 monster besides a token gives you the ability to suck up something in front of it. So if your opponent parks something in front of the EDM, okay, free real estate. Red Ice Fusion came in at number 1 this week. Now, I'm not really surprised about this at all, considering the fact that this is what, do you deem this the highest rarity at this point in time? Because you have the Super and you have this. Now, I understand that Dragoon isn't hardly seeing any play this format, and at most, you're paid well behind $1.22 at this point. Which, unironically, if this is the highest rarity, this is also the cheapest version available on today's market as well. Yeah, everybody's just picking up their playset of this just so they have them. I mean, considering that the previous versions were hiding behind this freaking $3 to $4 price point, $1.22 is definitely a lot more inviting than spending $40 for the supers when they were at their max. Number 1 this week was Wing Requital. So literally, this card just says it's Pot of Greed. If you have 2 or more Wing Beast monsters, you get the ability to draw cards. That's all that this was. Looking beyond the top 10 this week, we had Altergeist Pukuri at number 10. Well, that's very interesting. I understand that Altergeist players really wanted that. D-Force came in at number 12. Okay. Right Hand Shark, of course. Curry Babylon came in at number 14, and Astral Karibo came in at number 15. Take note that Right Hand Shark and Astral Karibo both are seeing play right now to set up the brick wall plays for Crooked Cook, creating a monster that's unaffected by card effects and cannot be destroyed by battle. Yeah, this thing is a little bit absurd at the end of the day. But that is your look at the top cards of the week. And, of course, Brothers of Legend really drove it on home this week. I mean, Pot of Greed in draw form makes absolute sense as to why this was one of the the best-selling cards out of this week. Anybody surprised about that? No, not at all. Yeah, it doesn't surprise me at all either. Rarest Huge has been interesting, though. So guys, please leave a comment about what you guys think. Smash the crap out of that subscribe button. I'll see your beautiful faces back here later on the day. Peace out, guys. Patrons, thank you.
Thank you so much for watching. Check out these other videos.